What makes a good leader? Have you ever thought about the qualities needed to be a good leader? Who do you know who has those qualities, and do they lead well? Who do you look up to? And can you think of a leader who you would be able to say, I want my children to grow up to be just like them? What fun questions. My name is Ian Currey, and this is Thinking Out Loud. Come on, let me tell you what I think. By now, most of you will know I work for a major airline. My specific role as an instructor means I expect people to demonstrate that they can do the things they've been taught. Now, teaching crew to put out fires and evacuate aircraft means they have to actually do those things. First, I have to show the students how to do whatever it is I'm teaching that day, and then I expect them to copy what I've shown them and demonstrate they can do it too. Can you imagine what would happen if, instead of having every student show that they were following my example, I just sat in the classroom and told them how to do it? Would you want to be flying on a plane with a crew like that? No? Why ever not? Being a leader is just like that, isn't it? I mean, reading all the books and knowing what the qualities of a good leader are doesn't mean you actually are one. You have to demonstrate you can put what you know into practice. One day this week, someone who works with me asked me how I became a good leader. I'd just taken a bite of my sandwich, which was just as well, because I was a little taken aback by the question. I was able to chew while I thought about an answer. I thought about why they were asking such a question. I wondered why they were asking and what made them think I was a good leader. So I asked, what makes you think I'm a good leader? And why are you asking? See, now that's what I mean. You always ask questions. Well, asking questions doesn't make me a leader, does it? Well, no, but it makes you a good one. So you've answered your own question then, right? Now, why are you asking? Well, I like the way you work and kind of want to do it that way. Very flattering, of course, but my friend had a point. Listening and asking questions is one of the things I like in a leader. It shows they're wanting to learn and understand. After my friend had gone, I spent the rest of my lunch taking time to make a list of things I thought a good leader should be demonstrating. Once I had that list, I had to think about who I knew that had those qualities. Did I have any of them? Why did people think I'm a leader when all I did was ask a few questions and listen to them? These days, it's easy enough to find lists of what makes a leader. It's also easy to assume that just because people are following someone, that they are a good leader. That isn't one of the criteria that made it to my list. Sadly, people will follow all sorts of crazy people if they think they will get what they want by doing so. A few of the things that made it to my list come from the best example of a servant leader I know, Jesus. Now, Paul talks about Jesus and his leadership style in his letter to the Philippians. Make me truly happy by agreeing wholeheartedly with each other, loving one another, and working together with one mind and purpose. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. Though he was God, he did not think of equality with God as something to cling to. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave and was born as a human being. That short extract of Paul's writings has a lot hiding in it, doesn't it? Looking at some of the lists and books these days, and there are really a lot of them, leadership seems to have taken a rather different tack. An all too often unpleasant path rather than the lovely example Jesus sets for us. One list I came across gave these 5 things as the most important: communication, vision, determination, decisiveness, and results. Well, the expert that wrote that list might get the job done, but if those were the top 5 things on the list, I wouldn't want to be working for a leader like that. My list, in contrast, was far more like the one you could glean from Paul. The things I look for in a leader are credibility. Are they able to win my trust? A focus on relationship and relationship building. When people show up at work, they bring their whole self with them. They bring emotions and dreams, fears and concerns, as well as abilities and skills. Getting to know those we lead and letting them get to know us is so very important. Humility was on Paul's list. Can you imagine showing up to the first disciple lunch and saying, "Okay, everyone, I'm God, so you need to do everything I say. And Peter, watch your mouth. No more naughty words from you, please." No, instead of doing that, Jesus lived and worked among the disciples in humility. He demonstrated by how he lived and led who he was. Eventually asking, "Who do you say I am?" Peter replied, "You are the Messiah." Jesus didn't need to spell it out. He demonstrated exactly who he was, and even Peter had managed to work it out. My list had empowering the team on it, and Jesus demonstrated that too. He sent the disciples out to do what he'd shown them to do. Go on, give it a try. A role model. I often ask myself the question, am I the sort of person I'd be proud to tell my boys to be like? So many times these days, so-called leaders are such scoundrels that you'd be ashamed if anyone you knew copied them. Positive and encouraging. So often leaders miss encouraging their followers. A simple "well done" from the boss, the leader, means more than we can ever know. The words Jesus' followers most want to hear are not "well done, good and faithful leader," but "well done, good and faithful servant." Being a role model, an example, is a vital part of leading well. Character really matters, even more than results. Now, that's a big statement, isn't it? Character matters more than results. Being nasty, stepping on people, and rejecting those who don't agree with us isn't how Jesus taught us to be, now is it? Doing the right thing, leading well, will eventually mean the results will come. Chasing results rather than good character eventually negates any results that may have been achieved in the short term. Once I had my list, I wondered how well I was doing meeting the standards I jotted down. I realized that Jesus, my favorite leader example, just got on and lived his life as an example of how to do it. Often Jesus asked questions. He steered people with his rather clever, gentle answers. How can we be better leaders? Well, perhaps if we were a little more like Jesus and a little less focused on us and our latest agenda, that would be a start. Jesus rarely told his disciples the plan, or for that matter, where they were going. Instead, he simply said, "Follow me. Do life the way I am." Who are you following? Who are you leading? How do those you lead see you? Until next time, goodbye.